At last year's Food Safety Conference, Andy Morling, head of the Food Crime Unit, promised to come back this year and tell us about the progress his team have made. I'm Mike Stones for Food Manufacture, and I asked him what deserved a star A and what should be marked could do better.
Well, I try and avoid marking my own homework if I can, Mike, but if you're asking me what I'm particularly proud of in the last year or so, there are probably three things. Firstly, I'm really proud of the way in which we've engaged with our local authorities. I think it's been quite a mission. There are 400 of them throughout the UK, and it's vital to our work that we have close relationships with them. They are our eyes and ears on the ground, as I've often said. Secondly, I'm really pleased with the way in which we've engaged internationally. We are part of a very select group across the world. We're probably the only nation with an entirely dedicated food crime unit. Others have capabilities that deal with a range of those types of crime, but we are specifically about food. So we're kind of leading the way a little bit, and I've been across Europe and recently to America, where I've discovered that actually we're some way ahead of the curve in relation to our response to the UK. So I'm very proud to be leading that response.
But what puts Britain ahead of that global curve?
Well, I think we recognise food crime, perhaps because of the horse meat incident, has been was a bit of a wake-up call to us as a nation that some countries perhaps haven't had. I think we recognise the importance of tackling it as a crime type in and of itself. It's not just another generic fraud, it is a crime type deserving of its own response. And I think that's the bit where we're leading the world. In terms of understanding food fraud, we're investing very heavily in understanding what food fraud's all about.
And you mentioned another achievement.
Final achievement is exactly that. It's about the degree to which we now understand the threat. It was always going to be a challenge for us because food fraud is extremely challenging to detect and intelligence is at something of a premium. We've worked very hard as a unit to try and capture the intelligence, that very, very sort of valuable intelligence, to understand the reality of the food crime threat. Not to go with hyperbole, not to go with sensationalism, but to deal with the facts, to deal with what the intelligence tells us about this form of crime.
So, any frustrations along the way?
Frustration is probably too strong a word for it, Mike. I'd like to have done more with industry. I've held out a hand to industry on a number of occasions throughout the year. I've had some very interesting discussions with industry, and I think we're closer than we were. But certainly, I want to build a relationship of greater trust. So that call out to industry to let us walk the walk. You know, I'm really keen to demonstrate to industry that we can be trusted with their information. And indeed, at the end of this month, we're publishing a guide that unequivocally articulates what we want from industry and what we give industry in return and how we'll manage their information. We cannot do this alone.
Now, you may have held out a hand to industry, but that hand certainly hasn't been grasped by food and drink manufacturers. What more can you do to reach out to the sector?
I totally understand why industry, don't get me wrong, I understand why industry would be reluctant to share information with us. They'd be concerned about the effect that having that information released into the public domain might have on their business interests. I totally understand that. What I can do is better articulate what we want from industry, because I'm sure there are certain parts of industry that don't realise what we're looking for. What do we actually need from industry? What information are we looking for? What does fraud look like? That's a responsibility on me to tell industry what we're looking for. What will we do with it? So to unequivocally state that we won't just release it willy-nilly into the public domain, we will treat them as any other source of information to a law enforcement agency, and we will safeguard and treat that information as they'd expect us to. So to do that, the document we're about to publish at the end of this month will make that absolutely clear. So I really hope it will mark a sea change in our relationship with industry.
Andy Morling, head of the Food Crime Unit, thank you for that progress review exclusively for Food Manufacture listeners. I'm Mike Stones for Food Manufacture at the Food Safety Conference.